Hello guys, welcome to my channel Miss Recap. Today I'm going to explain 2011 horror thriller movie called The Human Centipede 2. The movie starts and we are shown a man who is watching the Human Centipede movie on his laptop. His name is Martin. He was about 40 years of age and is quite fat to look at. He had asthma and everyone considered him useless that he is an unavailing person. He worked at London's parking lot too. He had watched the Human Centipede movie many times. Then suddenly he feels the stir in CCTV footage of parking. When he observes, he sees a young couple fighting in the parking. The boy's name was Ian. He had his father's car, of which he had lost keys. Martin brings an iron rod and goes to that couple. Ian believes that Martin came here to tamper with his car lock, leading him to use harsh language towards him. After listening to his insult, he immediately takes out the gun which he hid in his pocket. He shoots Ian's foot with this gun. Seeing this, Ian's friend screams a lot. When Martin sees this, he also shoots her in the stomach. Then with the same iron rod, he strikes them on the head. They get faint immediately. Then Martin brings his car there. He puts both of them in his car. He comes back to his room and starts watching the Human Centipede movie again. Martin has a book also. He puts his hand on the book and that book only contained pictures of the Human Centipede movie and its actress. Then he takes his truck and goes to the house which he has just rented. When the house owner demands the rent, he injures him with the same iron rod. Later he brings Ian and his friend into this house. They were tied firmly with tape. After this, Martin takes a scissor and tears out Ian's friend's clothes and removes all of her clothes. Then suddenly acting management company calls Martin. They tell him that actresses of the Human Centipede can't come to London audition because they are so busy and not a single day is free for them. Saying this, they cut the call. Martin is shown in his home the next morning. He was naked and laying in his bed. Just then, his mother comes there and she screams and wakes him up because he was sleeping and he had an appointment with the doctor today. After his mother leaves, he looks at his book again, gets dressed and comes outside. The first thing he used to do was feeding his pet, which was Centipede, and then he used to go to his doctor. Outside, Martin's mother was telling his doctor that I often hear Martin talking about a centipede of 12 people. In answer to which the doctor says Martin may feel the pain of the centipede's bite. When he was younger, his father sexually abused him, on which children's right team sends him to the jail. But still Martin's mother blamed Martin for this. Her doctor didn't care much either because he also sexually abused Martin by taking advantage of his mental illness. And that's why Martin didn't like that doctor and hated him a lot. As the doctor goes, Martin and his mother are having lunch. Then his mother tells him that she stays really upset because of Martin. Thinking about this, she decided to kill Martin and herself. Just then the noise of loud music comes from the upper floor of their house, which causes much disturbance to Martin's mother. She starts hitting the roof. This noise is heard by people living there. In fact, aggressive bodybuilder lives there. As he comes, he beats Martin and then leaves. Martin gets injured badly. Martin had watched the Human Centipede many times after this. He behaves like Dr. Joseph and wears a lab coat like him. Then he copies the surgery drawing book made by Dr. Joseph in his notebook. Then he kidnaps a couple from the parking lot. The wife of that man was pregnant. Later he kidnaps two more girls. He brings them in a house where he has kept other people. First of all, he removes their clothes. He lays them down in a vertical sequence. After all of his hard work, Martin suddenly suffers from an asthma attack. He inhales medicines by his palm and comes back to his normal condition. Just then, the acting management company calls him again. Now they say that actresses Rachel and Yenny of the Human Centipede movie are ready to come for the audition. They are about to come to London. They do this because Martin has told them a few time ago that he is an agent of the director of this movie named Quentin Tarantino. Tarantino is so impressed by the performance of the actresses of the Human Centipede that he wants to make part 2 with them. Its audition was organized in London. Tarantino is in fact a famous American director. He is famous worldwide for making disturbing movies. Then the scene of midnight is shown when Martin reaches home. He sees that his mother is trying to kill him, but Martin understands his mother's will. Martin's mother finds that book under his bed, in which details of the human centipede were written. In the same book, he talked about 12 people on which he will perform a operation. Her mother gets to know his intentions. She becomes very aggressive and tears that book apart. Seeing this, Martin becomes really upset. Then Martin wears his lab coat and bites his mother with his pet centipedes. He repeatedly strikes his mother's head with the rod. As a result, at this point, his mother dies. He takes his lunch with the dead body of his mother. When the bodybuilder from the upper floor reaches there, Martin injures him too with the same rod. After all of this, he shoots his own doctor in a parking lot, then kidnaps his own driver and a girl from there. He brings them to his rented house. Just then, he receives a message from actress Jenny that she will reach London at 6 p.m. Martin picks Jenny from the airport at the exact time in his truck. Jenny was so excited that she came for Quentin Tarantino's audition. But what she didn't know about Martin's thought, she didn't know his plans. Martin takes Jenny to that house. As she enters, he hits her with the iron rod and she gets faint. He carries out some surgical tools and that painting from his bag. Martin had 12 people present here. He was going to make a model of the human centipede just like Dr. Joseph. Firstly, he makes marks on everyone's body like Dr. Joseph. After it, he pulls out ligaments of their knees. He neither does this by performing any surgery, nor he injects them anesthesia. He was just using two small tools, a knife and a hammer. Then he pulls out their teeth one by one. Everyone was screaming, but they were tied with a strong rope, therefore they couldn't help themselves. First of all, Martin cuts the skin of the man's hip, but his blood is wasted and he dies on the spot. Seeing this incident, Martin gets really upset. After this, except that pregnant lady, he ties everyone like the human centipede. He stitches the face of a person to the back of the second person, and then his backside to the face of the third person. He does this by using a stapler. He staples them one by one and ties them to each other with the tape so that no one can separate. Finally, he joins them and makes a centipede of 10 people. Jenny was first in the queue and he used to feed only Jenny like the doctor, but she doesn't eat. Then he gets a pipe and a funnel and feeds her with them. He suddenly receives a call from acting management that other actors of the Human Centipede movie are coming for an audition. Martin was talking on call when Jenny was screaming a lot. He becomes really disturbed and cuts her tongue with a scissor. Her tongue starts bleeding. Martin injects them laxative, due to which they get thin stools. He admires an injection to the patients with constipation to help clear their stomachs. Suddenly, they all get thin stools. First of all, Martin enjoys this scene. But this scene was so disturbing and dirty, and seeing this, he starts vomiting too. Just then, the pregnant lady, who was not a part of the centipede, feels pain. She runs and sits in a car. She gives birth to a child in this car. On the other hand, Martin's centipede was getting separated because it was breaking and everyone was getting apart. When he sees this, he becomes enraged and murders everyone by severing their throats. When he comes to Jenny to kill her, she hits in the middle of his legs and he falls down. She takes a funnel and inserts his pet centipede in his backside, due to which he starts suffering badly and falls on the ground. Then we are shown Martin, who is watching the Human Centipede movie in his parking lot. The moral of the story is, everyone considered Martin useless, which was become of his mental illness. That was the reason he got impressed by Dr. Joseph and wanted to make his own human centipede like him. But he wanted to do this experiment with 12 people. Whatever Martin did, were whether his imaginations or he really made a centipede. The movie ends here. Thanks for watching. If you like it, so please don't forget to subscribe my channel.